All right, so in this section, we're going to be talking a lot about inequalities and their graphs. But to start out, we need to know how to read them because there's a specific way, especially when we get to graphing them, that I'm going to want you to read them by saying the variable first. So just a review on inequality signs or symbols, greater than, less than, and if there's a line underneath, it's the or equal to, meaning it will include that in the explanation. So if we're saying, hey, if something is greater than or equal to, it means it can be equal or greater than, and it would fall under that category. So these are what the symbols would be if you're going left to right. Now, the way that I want to explain it is sometimes you can read the problem left to right or right to left. So I want you to think of these pointers. So the symbol always opens to the bigger number and it points to the smaller number. What we're going to do is practice reading the variable first when referencing an inequality. So regardless if you see these two examples of whether the variable might be on the left side or the right side, I want you to start your words with what the variable says. So if we're looking at this problem and we know that it opens to the bigger number, so I would start here. I can read this two ways. I can read it as x is greater than 5 or 5 is less than x. I want to drill into you guys that read the variable first so that x is greater than 5, so we're reading it this way. Just like over here, you can read this as negative 5 is greater than or equal to w, but I want you to get in the habit of reading it as w, and then since it's pointing to it, it's a smaller number, w is less than or equal to negative 5. All right? So looking at these notes as far as filling them out, how would we read them? I'm going to go ahead and type in these answers. So over here, if I see this, I'm going to read the x value first. So I'm always going to start with the variable x. X is, and then it's pointing to it, so it means it's smaller than or less than 4. So we would read it that way. These fonts are big. I'm going to make those smaller. All right, so we're going to think of it that way. X is less than 4. All right, over here, as I look at this one, again, I'm going to read the variable first. So I'm going to start with the x. X is, and it's opening towards the x, which means it's bigger than. So x is greater than or equal to, and then 5. So we're going to read it that way. Over here on this example, again, we are going to start with the variable. So we're going to start with x. X is, and it's pointing at the x, so that means it's smaller, right? It points to the smaller one. So x is less than or equal to 6. And over here, again, we can see that the variable is listed second, so I'm always going to start with that. X, x is, and then it's pointing to the x, so less than 100. All right, so we want to make sure that we're reading the variable first when we do that, and we're going to practice that because that's going to be very important with the way that I teach how to graph these later on. All right, so besides reading them, we are also going to need to know how to write them. So reading and writing, it's kind of important. So over here, whenever you see the what they give you, something, an unknown is less than 7, the way that I like to think about it is write the inequality and then write the number for each one. So here w is greater than 25. So w 25. I'm just putting spaces between them. Z and then 15 and x and negative 22. So now all I have to do is go through and see what kind of symbol I need to put in for each of these. So x is less than 7. So if it's less than, and again, going back to our quick note reference, it points to the smaller number. So if this unknown number is less than 7, it would be indicated like that, pointing to that. 7 would be greater than that unknown number. X would be less than that unknown number. Over here, z is greater than or equal to 15. This is a z. So greater than or equal to, we're going to make it open to the bigger number. So we're saying z is greater than. And then the or equal to, we would put the line underneath. W is greater than 25, greater than. So we're going to open it up to it. And x is less than or equal to negative 22. So if it's less than, it's going to point to it. And then we put the line underneath. So that's the lesson on how to read them. I think this part's very important. Be able to read them appropriately and then how we would write them.